What is going on, TU crew? Welcome back to another episode of the Totally Unqualified podcast. We're up to episode 17 now. This is 17 weeks doing this stuff, man. This is crazy.
Wow.
I am, of course, joined with me today by my lovely co-host, Gage Hall and Jake Maltese. How are you guys doing today?
Extremely sunburnt, but for very good reason. NFL football is back. Couldn't be happier. Excited to get into it today.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt so good to have NFL on the TV on Sunday again, to hear those glorious words that Scott Hansen always says. It just got me ready. I'm ready for week 2 already. Before you know it, the season's going to fly by, but I'm gonna milk every second of it and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely missed some red zone with Scott Hansen for sure. Week 1 was a doozy, my guys. I'm a little sick, by the way. I don't know if you guys could hear it in my voice. I'm a little under the weather, probably from watching that fucking terrible Packers game. All right. You know what we started off with. Guess that player time. I believe I'm in the lead right now. I think it's 7-6 to 1-1.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you are.
Gage, I have faith in you this week. I really do.
Okay.
Does that mean it's a Saints player? I'm already narrowing it down.
That's what you would think. I'm all right. You guys ready? NFL player, of course.
All right. Always ready.
He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2020 NFL draft. So recent. He is a skill position player. I feel like we always do skill position players. We need to give the defense more love. Not in this episode, though. Last year, he rushed for 795 yards and 11 touchdowns. Let me see where's his college at? Oh, no. Where does college go? All right, we'll skip the college. You got any guesses?
I'm just blanking on every single running back that was drafted this year.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
He is the number 1 back, but he split carries last year. Okay. And he's more of a receiving threat, or more of a dual threat, I should say. Receiving, catch out of the backfield.
Damien Harris?
Not Damien Harris. That was close.
Close?
I mean, close as in you picked a running back. I'm trying to. Where's this college?
Why am I blanking on everybody?
Yeah, I can't.
All right. He attended.
Antonio Gibson.
There it is.
There we go.
There it is.
I hate it here.
There it is. He went to Memphis. Okay. Yeah. I could not find his college. It was not pulling up on PFR. Antonio Gibson.
And I knew that. If you would have said the college, I would have had it 100%.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I don't know why it's not pulling up on PFR. I would have thought it was
Ed is just disappointed in me every week now, by the way, when he listens to the episodes.
Jeez.
So for some reason, I started thinking of 2021 draft, and I was like, we're the rookie running backs right now. Yeah. And then I had no idea which round Antonio Gibson was drafted in, but I knew it was the mid round, so I just threw it out there.
I mean, that's all it takes sometimes. Just random.
That's 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. And guys, NFL week 1 was a doozy. We're going to get into our first topic of the day. I didn't even introduce them, but we're going to be doing some overreactions. All right. So an overreaction to a team, a score, whatever you want. That's not necessarily something that, we necessarily 100% believe is going to happen, but we're just overreacting. So who wants to go first, Gage? You want to go?
I'll take it first. And my overreaction is going to be that the Bengals are a playoff team.
Whoa.
The Bengals take down the Vikings, who we thought were going to be very, very good, a very good defense, and they have an absolute fight the entire game. And Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase looked like those LSU days. So I think that the Bengals are going to take it all the way. That's basically what this whole segment is hot takes. But I think they could do a little something.
Really? I mean, their defense looked improved. I'll give them that. Jesse Bates looked nice. They had some nice pass rush. The Vikings couldn't block for shit.
They've got some nice pieces. They picked up some good D linemen and stuff in the offseason that I feel like a lot of people didn't take notice of. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joe Burrow looked good as ever. Man.
He looked like that injury wasn't even bothering him.
Yeah. Yep. All right. My overreaction, I'm going to go down south to the Texans-Jaguars game. And I'm going to say that the Jaguars will have the first overall pick again next year.
Ooh.
Yeah, I I think we all thought that the Texans were going to be the worst team in the league this year. Pretty popular thought amongst many people that watch football. Texans look good. Tyrod Taylor ran that offense. He looked really good. I don't know if it's just that the Jaguars defense is that bad, because that's definitely also a possibility. But yeah, the Texans definitely looked more competent than the Jaguars did. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 interceptions. He also threw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you take the good with the bad in his debut. But yeah, they do not look like they are going to be a playoff team anytime soon, and they could possibly be the worst team in the league this year after that showing in week 1. So I could definitely see them getting the first overall pick again next year.
That's not a bad take. Urban Meyer's pissing me off. All right, I'm blaming some of my fantasy losses on Urban Meyer, because why the fuck does James Robinson only get 5 carries? Why? It makes no sense. I mean,
they were behind. They were behind for a lot in that game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I don't know.
I traded James Robinson for DeAndre Swift in one of my leagues.
Ooh,
worked out fantastic.
Nasty.
Detroit's got a nice little backfield there with him and Jamal Williams. They're figuring some stuff out. All right, I like both of those takes, by the way. Maybe the Jaguars won a little bit more than the Bengals won, but
yeah.
You went down south, Jake. I'm going to go out west to Arizona. Gage just watched that game. I think the Arizona Cardinals, or my overreaction is that the Arizona Cardinals are going to finish this season with the number 1 defense in the NFL. Wow. What they did to the Titans in Tennessee was something to be like, it was crazy. It was crazy. Chandler Jones all by himself, 5 sacks. We missed saying that Myles Garrett and Daniel Hunter and all these players were going to get, a crazy amount of sacks. We missed big time on the sack king, Chandler Jones. That whole defense is coming together with J.J. Watt. They have Budda Baker in, at safety. He's really good. Isaiah Simmons in year 2. Byron Murphy as well. They have a lot of good pieces there. They just have to really just gel together. I think the Cardinals finished with the number 1 defense in the NFL. Nobody's expecting it.
I don't hate that either, especially seeing it live in person. They were just killing them all game long. I like that take a lot. We're going to get into it more a little later, so I'll save most of it for then, but good take.
Yeah, definitely. The NFC West, 4-0 this weekend, and just definitely the best division in football, and I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't close. Anybody can win that division. All 4 of those teams could make the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. Yeah,
all 4 of them. Crazy the way the playoff seeding works now. And as we move on from overreacting to some teams, we're going to be overreacting to some players. And I'm going to go first. And by my sigh, I hope you guys could already tell where I'm going with this. I'm going to save some of my Packers rant for later, but my overreaction to a player is that Jordan Love comes in and starts at least 1 more game for this team, and it's not going to be because they have such a good record and they're playing, for nothing towards the playoffs. I think Jordan Love legitimately, he came in and he provided a spark on offense that Aaron Rodgers couldn't provide for some reason. He had a bad a fumble at the goal line later in the game, but he provided a spark. I don't know why they went flat into that game, but Jordan Love looked like he could be the man. I saw what I saw in preseason. I liked what I saw. I think Jordan Love comes in and starts at least 1 game. And like I said, not because of injury, not because they have a good seed and are going to be the number 1 seed or whatever. I think he legitimately comes in and starts because Aaron Rodgers might not be playing that great this entire season.
Wow. Definitely a hot one there. Don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Love probably only starts maybe at the end of the season. I think the Packers will get this figured out, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Jake, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Monday Night Football game with this one, and I'm going to say that Lamar Jackson will have his worst season yet. Yeah, so Lamar, obviously the team is in complete disarray with, the amount of injuries that they've had. 3 running backs going down. Marcus Peters, one of the starting cornerbacks, going down for the year. They have a new offensive line. Orlando Brown left. He went to the Chiefs, so they have Alejandro Villanueva, who didn't really look great last night against that Raiders D-line. He just didn't look great. He obviously had some of those moments where he's runs. Like, he's obviously always going to be a great runner. He's always going to have those special runs in any game he plays. But just some of the throws, some of them were wide open and he missed them. There were definitely yards left on the field. And I just feel like with this team and the run game, it's a big part of having that solid running back that could also threaten the defense to open up the run game for Lamar. And I think because that's really not going to be there this year, that he's going to be playing a lot of hero ball. And I don't think he has the arm to play hero ball. And I think we saw that a little bit last night. He was definitely not on his P's and Q's. He was not sharp as we are used to seeing Lamar Jackson be. Missed a lot of throws. And I just feel like last night left a bad taste in my mouth. And I would not be surprised if this was a preview of how this season is going to go for the Ravens.
Okay. I mean, like you said, their running backs are down. Tyson Williams didn't have a bad game. He actually provided a little spark for them. Lamar Jackson, though, very uncharacteristic of him to have 2 fumbles which really, put the game in the hands of the Raiders to go ahead and win that. Lamar Jackson didn't have the greatest game. I don't know if I'm necessarily with that. I'm completely against that because I picked up Lamar Jackson in fantasy in another one of my leagues that I did literally 5 minutes before the Thursday night game. I picked him with my number 1 pick because it was a 6-person league. We're all going to get great players anyway. I picked him because I think he's going to have his best season without those running backs. I think he really is going to be the main runner on that team. I think it was just a week 1 scary game. I've been saying it for the past week. These week 1 games really get to you. It was the Vegas home opener too, and their whole history.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I agree with Luke on this one, actually. I think that they'll kind of bounce back, and they've picked up enough running backs in free agency with Latavius Murray and stuff like that. He played a little bit last night. I think they'll be fine as far as the run game goes. And as they get their receivers healthy and everything as well, I think that Lamar is going to show off that passing talent more and more. And I think that last night he already looked like a better passer, in my opinion. I think he was making better decisions, but not protecting the ball is what ended up killing them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Gage, you're up.
All right. I am going to stick with the Bengals, and this time I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. And I think after preseason, everybody was like, what is going on with Jamar Chase? He can't catch a ball. I was one of those people. I was like, this looks a little rough. It looks like maybe they made the wrong choice in who they picked, but they had a great game. The connection is obviously there. And I think that Jamar Chase will be a 1,000-yard receiver in his rookie season. That Burrow to Chase connection is going to hold up, and they're going to have a great year.
I like that.
I don't know if that's an overreaction, but yeah, I mean, if you watch
1,500 yards,
2,000, give me 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000. Come on, break Calvin Johnson's record. No. If you watch them at LSU, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase was the better receiver. Like, Justin Jefferson was the number 2 receiver on that team. So for Jamar Chase to have over 1,000 yards, I think we definitely saw the connection that they formed at LSU in that Vikings game. I mean, it was just, like they never left. It was like they never left. Jamar Chase, I really didn't buy into the worries that were happening in training camp. He was just so talented at LSU. He took a year off, obviously, so I think that's where the struggles kind of came up. He was just getting back into football. But yeah, with Joe Burrow throwing him the ball and just that chemistry that those two have, I think it's going to be a special connection for the Bengals this year and for years to come.
You know what I found interesting was Jamar Chase came out and said the reason why he had so many drops in the preseason was because he was getting used to the NFL, like football, the actual football itself, because the college football has white lines around it. And I guess you could see it, predominantly as a wide receiver. I thought that was weird. I thought that was, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that the footballs were different.
He said that they took it out of context because they asked him like what the difference was between the balls. So he was kind of explaining that, but it still can't, like, if you read what he said or whatever, it still kind of comes across as like, that's why I'm struggling, or like, that's why I'm having an issue. So he tried to kind of pull it back, but obviously it didn't end up hindering him in game 1. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know how much I believe that. I mean, he's a wide receiver and he's fucking Jamar Chase. He definitely knows a lot more than me, but like, a football is a football. you're going to see it coming your way no matter what. I don't think a white line around the spiral is going to affect it that much. I like that. I think he definitely is going to be their number one receiver. The only thing that worries me is that they have a really, really packed wide receiver room right now with Tyler Boyd, with T. Higgins. Those two could be a number one on any other team. Joe Mixon had a really good game against the Vikings too. He's probably going to get a bunch of carries. I like it. I'm not going to go like 1,500 yards, but I think thousands, doable for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just a fun fact, actually, about the white lines in the football. Because I was watching a documentary. I don't know how, but I learned this. The white lines in the footballs in college were added because the stadiums were much more poorly lit in college. Stadiums were always lit well in the NFL, so they didn't really seeing the ball was never an issue. So they added the white line to the college ball, so receivers were able to see it better in college because the stadium lights weren't all that powerful. It wasn't. Yeah. So a little fun fact for you guys. I don't know. I just pulled that out of my ass. I remember watching it somewhere, but that is the reason that colleges have a white line and the NFL doesn't.
Huh. I mean, they have to be well lit now. It's 2020.
Oh yeah,
right?
now it is. This is back in the day. This is like the 50s, 60s, like way back when.
And they never changed it. Huh.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. And from that segment, we're going to move on back to Speedy Spotlights. A minute and a half on the clock. Just kidding. I don't have my app ready. Jake, you are going first, and I will let you know when you're ready. You're good to go whenever.
All right, sweet. So we all saw Sam Darnold play against his former team this weekend. Yeah, you knew where I was going. Don't act like
this guy.
He looked great. Listen, he looked really, really good. He looked more comfortable and more confident in his throws than I have ever seen Sam Darnold look since his USC days. He was delivering balls on the dime. He even ran for a touchdown. He had a big play to Robbie Anderson, which I'm sure felt great for both of them as a giant middle finger to the Jets. But yeah, he looked really good. And I just want to put out there that my MVP pick looks much better than Luke's MVP pick right now. So just want to get that on record. Sam Darnold for MVP week 1 just made that argument stronger. Thank you.
Just book it. Wow. Who would have thought Sam Darnold is the leading candidate for our MVPs right now? Well, maybe Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford
played well. Matt Stafford played well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The Sam Darnold revenge game was a rough one to watch, to say the least. I don't know why I had that on my TV for so long. It was definitely ruining my day watching that happen. All right. Does someone have my timer ready?
Of course.
Yeah, you're good.
Of course. All right. You got it, Gage?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So, obviously, I'm talking about the Packers, okay? So here we go. Their defense is the same exact defense from last year, except Joe Barry is our new defensive coordinator and not Mike Pettin. I'm going to say our because I feel that strongly. I am part of this team now. Joe Barry, if you don't know who he was, maybe you know who the 2008 Detroit Lions were because he was their defensive coordinator. I've been saying this on TikTok. If your name is associated in any way other than Calvin Johnson, in any way to the 2008 Detroit Lions, you do not deserve to be in the NFL anymore. You do not deserve to have a football job anymore. That is crazy. The fact that he's went 13 years in the NFL and he still hasn't gotten fired, that's crazy to me. Matt LaFleur was like, yeah, I want that guy on my team. Give me him. Furthermore, why the fuck are we paying Kevin King to give up touchdowns? Like, that's crazy. Other teams are pretty much paying for Kevin King right now to play on the Green Bay Packers. It's crazy to me how they could look at him in the NFC Championship game and say, yeah, I want that guy back on my team, even though he gives up, 50-yard plus touchdowns. The game was out of reach by the time he got burnt by Deontay Harris, I believe it was. But that was just terrible. Kevin King, get off my team. Joe Barry, get off my team. See you guys later. The Green Bay Packers are 0-1, and this is what happens when the Green Bay Packers start 0-1. I just get upset.
5 seconds to spare.
That's good stuff.
All right. I guess that just leaves me, but I like it. I agree. I don't think, especially Kevin King, what the fuck? Get him out of here. After that NFC championship, I would have had him gone by then or replaced or something.
Would you like Kevin King on the Saints?
No, definitely not. I'm more comfortable with what we've got.
All right. We will give you draft picks to take Kevin King off of our hands.
No.
All right. Ready?
Yep. Okay. I'm going to talk about an injury that isn't going to be surprising to anyone. Raheem Mostert is injured again and is getting surgery. He's going to be out for the season. Look, I like the guy. He's a great running back when he's on the field, but he is never on the fucking field. Like, he is constantly getting injured. He might be the most injury prone person in the entire NFL right now. And I honestly don't think that the 49ers stick with him for very much longer. Like, I really don't see him being the starting running back going into next season, especially with a guy like Elijah Moore stepping up. He had a good game after Mostert went down against the Lions, and they're going to be having Trey Sermon come in, and he's going to start getting some reps as well. I really think that Raheem Mostert, if he's even in the league after this season, will be finding a new job. He won't be sticking with the 49ers. Wow. And if he can stay healthy, he'll be a great pickup for another team. He's very fast. He's an elusive guy. He's powerful as well. He's got strong legs. So I like him as a running back. And I'm not just trying to shit all over him, but like, damn, dude, the best ability is availability. And you haven't had any of that for years now. And it's just extremely unfortunate. But the injury bugs hit the 49ers yet again. It sucks to see it. They had Jason Verrett go down as well. I think they said that he tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the season. So we thought that the NFC West was going to be the best division in the league. The 49ers might drop, but yeah, sucks to suck.
It does. I think Raheem Mostert is the perfect change of pace back. I think you bring him in on third downs, bring him in on like whatever, a screenplay, whatever. He's the perfect change of pace back. That being said, he can't be your starting running back. He can't be your bell cow because this stuff happens. He's been injury prone in the past, like you said. And the guy's 29 years old. He's going into his age 30 season. Yeah. Todd Gurley's like 26, and he doesn't even get another chance at a job. Like, that's crazy to me. Raheem Mostert's probably the fastest running back in the league, by the way. That's why he has a job. But, I mean, you said it all. Injuries are getting to him. They've drafted Trey Sermon. They have Elijah Mitchell, who had a really nice game against the Lions. Who knows?
Yeah, if he wasn't in that Kyle Shanahan run scheme, he really wouldn't be doing what we'd known him to do. Kyle Shanahan just knows how to use him perfectly. So if he does go to another team, I can't see him being the number one running back like he was on the Niners. Yeah. He would definitely be a third down guy.
For sure. All right. Speedy Spotlights is done. Let's get into some actual analysis on these football games. The Monday nighter between the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm glad I didn't say Oakland there. The Vegas Raiders. That was a doozy. The Raiders ended up winning 33-27. By the way, I just want to say quick, I'm going to let you guys go. I picked the Ravens on the podcast, but I switched my pick. I don't want it to count. That's fine if it doesn't count towards our standings. I switched my pick and picked the Raiders to win 33-27. That's exactly how much they won by. That was the exact score. All of my other picks for the week were fucking terrible. But I got that one spot on.
Slight redemption.
Yeah, that was it. That's all I really needed. That's all I needed. So Gage, what did you think about this game?
I mean, just a total surprise to me. I was the guy saying a week ago that the Raiders were complete ass and that this wasn't going to be a good game. And I said that I talked shit about their O-line, which I'm still not high on, by the way. I think that their O-line is definitely the weak point of that team right now. But their pass rush looks significantly better than I was expecting it to. Max Crosby looked very good. Carl Nassib looked very good. They were missing some guys. Richie Incognito didn't play, but they still put up a hell of a fight against a team that we looked at as very good despite the injuries in the Ravens. We all picked them to win. So the Raiders could be somewhat surprising. I think this is definitely a case of the week one scaries for the Ravens. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I think that they can get better and they can improve in some areas, especially with having some receivers come back and get healthy. So we'll see what happens, but it was a good one. Great game last night.
Yeah, I mean, we are off to an amazing start with primetime football games. I mean, the Thursday night game was awesome. The Monday night game was awesome. The Sunday night game was all right. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great. But yeah, I mean, Derek Carr pulled a Super Bowl 49 Seahawks through a pick on the 1 yard line. And that looked like it was going to be it for the Raiders in overtime. But then Lamar Jackson fumbles it, gives it back to the Raiders, and Derek Carr finds Zay Jones for the touchdown to end the game. Just a wild football game. It's those games that show you how much you can't underrate a team, obviously, but underrate a kicker. Like with Daniel Carlson hitting that field goal to send it into overtime, like Daniel Carlson is sneakily one of the best kickers in the league. He missed like 3 kicks last year. He hit all the clutch field goals this year that they needed in that game. But yeah, the Raiders, I mean, credit to them. They fought their way back. So if they do end up being like a subpar this team this year, they're not going to be an easy out. Like they're going to be a scrappy team. They're going to fight for every single point that they put on that board.
Absolutely.
So listen, don't count out the Raiders. Derek Carr is a very capable quarterback. He did have a couple miscues last night, but that's fine. They started getting Bryan Edwards involved as the game went on, and same with Darren Waller. The Ravens were really trying to cover Darren Waller. You could tell their game plan was focused on him. But just a wild game. I don't think anybody could have seen the Raiders winning this game other than Luke, obviously, as he picked 33-27. But yeah, the Raiders, listen, Sped actually shout out Sped. Sped made a video saying that the Raiders defense was a lot better than people were giving them credit for, which I mean, he was right. KJ Wright made a few good tackles. Shout out my guy. But yeah, this Raiders team impressed me a lot last night. They impressed me a lot. I'm not going to take away anything because, week 1, you don't want to make any assumptions yet. We've seen crazier things happen. But all in all, amazing game, amazing performance by the Raiders. Way to pull it out in the end.
Before I get into anything, could we just question why it always looks like Derek Carr is wearing eyeliner? Has anybody ever put that into question? Because it's every time. I got this question from one of my friends that doesn't really keep up with football. He's like, "Is he wearing eyeliner?" I was like, "Nope, that's just how he always looks all the time." Nonetheless,
he's got them lashes, bro.
He must.
It's the secret. It's the secret weapon. You ever see Semi-Pro? Break out the eyeliner. You've never seen Semi-Pro? You got to watch that.
I think it's a combination of like his eyelashes with the fact that his brow is like so prominent. Mm-hmm. So it just looks like they're darker around his eyes. I don't know. Dude looks like Sid from Toy Story.
Totally Unqualified podcast where you get the best analysis on on Derek Carr's eyelashes.
Yeah.
The Raiders have some weapons. The Raiders offense came out and looked a lot better than I expected it to. Going up against this tough Ravens defense. Darren Waller is looking like not even just one of the best tight ends in the league, one of the best receivers in the league. Like he was outstanding, 10 catches for, what did he have? Let me pull it up here. He had 10 catches, 105 yards and a touchdown. Zay Jones obviously caught the game-winning touchdown. Bryan Edwards was a beast, especially in overtime, catching every clutch throw, every first down that they needed. He was the guy to go to. He was the go-to guy. The player of the game for me, though, was Max Crosby. Max Crosby is leading this defense. He was everywhere last night. They talked about him nonstop. He's the leader of this defense now. He was setting the edge. He was applying pressure to Lamar all game. I mean, Lamar had 96 yards around there rushing. He, held Lamar in check for a majority of that game. 2 sacks. He had, I think, just 1 forced fumble. He might have had 2 actually. He looked outstanding. I think he was the reason why the Raiders won that game because, if Lamar Jackson isn't fumbling there, obviously the Ravens are winning. He was the difference maker in that game for me. The Ravens just, something's not clicking there. Something's not clicking. I mean, maybe it was just a case of the week 1 scaries. Their running game wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I didn't expect Tyson Williams to be that spark that they needed. I didn't expect Latavius Murray to have 10 touches, which he had, and he was signed 4 days ago. I think they came out a little bit flat. Patrick Queen, I have to mention, because he was everywhere on the screen as well. He could definitely develop into one of the best middle linebackers in the league. I would not be surprised. He could cover. He could pass rush. He showed that all in this game today or yesterday. The Raiders look like a good team, and you said it best, Jake. If they're gonna be a subpar team, they're gonna be one of the hardest teams to beat. I am exactly with that. They're gonna be the best 6-11 team you've ever seen.
Yeah. There's one player you mentioned, Max Crosby, obviously as like the player of the game for them. He played very well. A guy that kind of faded for me was Henry Ruggs. I really want to see a lot more out of him going into his second season. I want to see this guy break out, and I want to see him be that speedster Tyreek Hill type that everybody said that he could be. And he just hasn't shown that so far. So he's going to be somebody to watch. It's only one game, so we'll see if he's developed any more than maybe he showed in this game, but a little iffy for me.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Renfrow is one of the best slot receivers in the league. The guy, he's Wes Welker reincarnated. Like you just like, oh, where's the ball going? How the hell did Hunter Renfrow get there? He's just like, he finds these little crevices in the defense, and Derek Carr, he's just like tucking and dodging guys. Like he's such an underrated weapon on that Raiders offense. I would argue he was a 5th round pick for them in the same draft that they took Henry Ruggs. I would argue that he's been the better receiver for them than Henry Ruggs. I don't even think that's an argument, actually. Yeah. So
they made a joke last night during the broadcast that it's not like 3rd and whatever for them, especially if it's like 3rd and short or something. It's 3rd and Renfrow because that's where they go to him every single time, and it works. So
yeah.
No, the broadcasters also said that, I think it was Brian Edwards. He was drafted in the 3rd round the same year that they drafted Henry Ruggs. They were saying that the Raiders think that he could be better than Henry Ruggs, and he's probably is already better than Henry Ruggs.
I've heard nothing but good things all preseason long about Brian Edwards.
Exactly. He was one of those preseason darlings you always hear about, and that's applying to what we're seeing on the field now. He was everywhere on the field. He was Derek Carr's go-to guy down the stretch. And what more could you ask for out of your young wide receiver than to be that clutch guy? I mean, not much. It's a similar thing to Marquise Hollywood Brown, who was on the other team. He actually had a decent game yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't want to fault him too much, but it's like a lot of these receivers that are being projected to be the next Tyreek Hill just aren't panning out. And I don't know what it is. I think, John Ross is another one that comes to mind. Teams just look at this, top of the line speed, and that doesn't translate onto the football field. So maybe just a thing for scouts if you're listening to take to heart. But with that, we're going to be moving on to another game. The Bengals, who you love to talk about, Gage, I'm going to let you go first. They beat the Minnesota Vikings in an upset in overtime, game-winning field goal. What did you think about this game?
So obviously earlier, those were my overreactions to that game, but I feel like for good reason. The Bengals came out and proved all of us wrong. We were the doubters that they had to prove wrong, and they absolutely did that. Joe Burrow comes out and looks like he's not even bothered by his knee injury. He looks very mobile in the pocket. He was moving around just fine, even when pressured. And then he's getting the ball out fairly quick. He's throwing it a decent distance. He's hitting Jamar Chase on those routes that he was hitting him on in college, and they pull out the win. The Vikings, on the other hand, look a little bit iffy to me. You expect more out of that defense that we were so high on going into this, especially guys like Danielle Hunter in that front 7. You want to see them kind of pressure Joe Burrow more than they were, especially with him coming off of an injury and you expect him not to be very mobile. That's when you should be attacking the most. That offensive line looked better than we were expecting for the Bengals as well. So very close game, a huge surprise. Could be a case of the week 1 scaries, but I really don't think it was. I think that the Bengals came out, they were more prepared, so they get the win in the long run.
Yeah, I was very impressed by how much the Bengals stuck to the run game in this one. Joe Mixon had 29 carries just by himself. Samaje Perine had 5. So they really, really, really wanted to take the pressure off of Joe Burrow, and you saw that in this game, and it worked out well. Obviously, he's still recovering. You want him to get fully healthy. You don't want to take any chances. But listen, the Bengals, I'm looking at their defense. I didn't realize how many weapons they had on how many really good underrated players they had on the defensive side of the football. I mean, obviously, we all know how good Jesse Bates is. Then you want to talk about Larry Ogunjobi. You want to talk about BJ Hill, Sam Hubbard, DJ
Charlotte
Reader, like that. Yeah.
Larry Ogunjobi.
Shout out. Shelby Awuzie, who's actually a pretty good corner. They'd have Eli Apple, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, like you go through the roster, you're like, damn, this team isn't as bad as I thought. And Joe Burrow is the quarterback that can definitely put that all together. This team definitely showed in this game that, hey, like we're not the bottom of the league anymore. Like this team is here. They're ready to compete with any of the teams in the league. And they honestly, aside from their O-line, you look at every level of their team, they have the team to do it. So great week 1 win. Vikings fans want to say that Dalvin Cook was down. Who cares? That wasn't the outcome of the game. You got to deal with it. You're gonna get a good call from the refs at some point during the season. You got to take the good with the bad. It all evens out. But yeah, good for the Bengals. Glad to see this for Joe Burrow. And yeah, just a great team win for them. They needed this.
Yeah, I feel like this is more of a case of the Vikings being a little bit overrated heading into the season than the Bengals, being this playoff contender all of a sudden. I like what the Bengals have. Don't get me wrong. I think they are very much so set up for the future, especially at quarterback. Joe Burrow looked outstanding. I call them the big three, the big J's, Joe, Jamar, and Joe Mixon. I think they have a really nice core there. They have a really nice receiving core. Could get a little bit better on the offensive line, but still Danielle Hunter didn't, have much of an impact in this game. So what more could you really ask for? The Vikings, I don't know I know what their identity is. It's Dalvin Cook. It's run and gun sort of thing. If Dalvin Cook isn't having a spectacular game, what is this offense? Because Kirk Cousins just doesn't seem like he could be able to get it done. He's never really been that guy that could get it done down the stretch. Obviously, they brought it to overtime in what was it, like 30 seconds left that they had on the clock, and game winning? It was a game tying field goal. I just don't think he's that guy. I really don't. Like I said, when Dalvin Cook is not having a crazy game, he had just 101 scrimmage yards. I don't think they know what this offense could do, because if Dalvin Cook isn't having a good game, he had 20 carries. They kept on going to him. They kept on trying to feed him, and he had a couple good runs. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, I don't know. I don't think they know what their identity is if Dalvin Cook can't play. And they lost Irv Smith Jr. Yeah, Adam Thielen had a game. Adam Thielen's looking like old Adam Thielen of old. But yeah, I think it's more of a case of the Vikings being a little bit more overrated than the Bengals being a super team.
I don't fully agree with that. I still think the Vikings have a really solid roster. And I think that even on the offensive side of the ball, yes, they go to Dalvin Cook most of the time because, why wouldn't you? If you can establish that run game early, he's the guy to do it with. And I think that they're going to continue to do that. I think that this time around, they game plan for that to mostly be their offense, and it just didn't happen, and they didn't adjust as well as they would have liked. But I think that they're going to kind of figure this out as the season goes along as well. I think this was the week 1 scaries for them, in my opinion. And I think that Kirk Cousins, he's like on that level of like Derek Carr. Like, he's similar to him, in my opinion, as far as his skill level. I think that he can get it done. He's not going to be that guy that's going to go out and have a flashy, crazy day all the time, but he's good enough that he can get the ball to the receivers that are going to make plays, and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. So I like the Vikings still going forward. I'm not going to completely move away from them, but it is a rough week 1 loss for sure.
KJ Osborne, by the way, they might have a third wide receiver there. He looked outstanding.
That's very good.
Out of nowhere.
Shout out to Michael Pierce, by the way, on the D-line. I mean, he had a game.
Yeah.
He sat out last year, I'm pretty sure. He opted out. But he's been a big addition for them. We saw that in the game. He's a really, really good interior D lineman.
Yeah, his time with the Ravens, he was one of the best, nose tackle interior D linemen in the league.
Yeah.
And moving on, we're going to talk about a crazy, crazy game. The Browns are the Browns. They're going to be the Browns. They ended up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 33-29. Jake, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I just want to clarify what happened on that last Baker Mayfield throw. He was throwing it out. He wasn't trying to throw it to the receiver. He got his legs jerked out from underneath him at the last second, which made the ball go short. And that's why I was able to get, I don't think he was trying to make that throw. I honestly think he was trying to throw the ball away. But yeah, the Browns came out rolling. I mean, they dropped 22 points on the Chiefs, which seemed in like no time. They went for 2 on the first possession. They got it. They were clicking on all cylinders. I mean, as they should. The Browns are one of the best, teams, at least on paper, in the league. They got every position stacked. Defense looked great to start off. They were actually containing that Patrick Mahomes-led offense, that, high-powered offense. So all good things must come to an end, and it did. around the third quarter, the momentum shifted. And I think, who was it? The punt, Jamie Gillen dropped the ball. That was a huge momentum shift. I don't understand why he tried to run with it. He had another 2 seconds to just punt it. He picked it up and he thought he was fucking Tyreek Hill. No, Tyreek Hill's on the other side, bud. You're not him. That was stupid. There was a huge momentum shift in this game. I think if the Browns clean up there, just a couple mistakes. I think only a couple mistakes, because the Chiefs, if you give them the opportunities, something like that play to Tyreek Hill is going to happen. You can't. The whole way to stop the Chiefs is not to stop them. It's just to prevent that from happening. Prevent it in any way you can. Exactly. And you gave them an opportunity with the turnovers, and they took advantage of that. And that's when things like that happen. They had every opportunity to win this game. The Browns proved in this game they were one of the best teams in the league by keeping up. This was a game down to the wire. They were with them every step of the way. So the Browns should not be taken lightly. Baker had a good game. He had an unfortunate circumstance there. He did miss some throws, but for the most part, he had a good game. The Browns offense as a whole. Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb fumbled. That is so unlike him. He is not a guy that fumbles. So just unfortunate for the Browns, but they played their heart out. And I don't really have anything others to say about the Chiefs. They're explosive as ever. They're just as good as ever. The offensive line looked great. So yeah, both these teams are Super Bowl contenders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way. I feel like you covered a lot of it. I think that the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Browns made too many mistakes, and that's what cost them the game in this situation. They were up early, and then those mistakes are what ended up getting to them. So I'm not going to repeat a lot of what you said. I think that you covered all the bases here. I think that they'll get better as they go along. I've been saying that about a lot of the teams here. It's only week one, people. We don't want to overreact too much.
Yeah.
So the Browns will get better. The Chiefs will hopefully not get better for the rest of the league's case, but we'll see.
I will overreact here. I think the Browns are the best team in the AFC. I'll say it right now. I know that they just lost to the Chiefs. I know that they just lost, but if you think about it, they did this in the divisional round too. They looked better than the Chiefs, and then they lose it and squander in the end. How many times does this have to happen? When they get Odell back, this team is going to be ridiculous. I know that they just lost to the Chiefs. I get it. Tyreek Hill is unfair. Tyreek Hill is so unfair.
He had 193 yards or something.
Yeah, he was pushing 200.
My fantasy team played against him. I know exactly how many yards that fucker had. It's so annoying. I usually had it. This is like the first year I don't have Tyreek Hill on any one of my teams, and it pisses me off so much. He is unfair. He is. I literally think, we need to start talking about Tyreek Hill in the most unfair weapons of all time in NFL history, because he's up there. Who can stop him? I can't name a single person ever. Maybe Darryl Green. Maybe. But I literally can't name a single player. Deion maybe too. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just talking earlier about how these guys that are supposed to be the next Tyreek Hill or whatever just don't seem to work out. I feel like it's because people underrate the skill set that Tyreek Hill has. Because he's not all just speed. He uses his body, and even though he's small, he's a tough receiver. Like, he's going to go up and get it even over those bigger guys. And I feel like even the corners are like, oh, he's smaller. I can cover him. It's not a big deal. And he just proves them wrong every single time. It's crazy.
That's the difference between him and guys like John Ross, guys like Henry Ruggs, guys like Marquise Brown, that he'll go up and get it and play like he's 6'10". And what is he like? I think he might be shorter than me. He's like 5'8", 5'9".
Nobody knows. Crazy. This was a big thing last year. I remember making a video on it. It was like he was listed at like 5'10". He said he was 5'9" or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Him and Travis Kelce are absolutely unfair. I think
ridiculous.
You were asking in the chat or in our group chat, Jake, who we thought had the best quarterback performance of the week. I think it was Baker Mayfield. I know he didn't throw a touchdown, but he did everything he needed to do, obviously, other than that pick. But you said it. He was trying to throw it out of bounds. He did everything he was supposed to do, and he did it perfectly. It's tough that they can't get over the hump of the Chiefs, pause. But I think they're the best team. I really do. From top to bottom, offensively and defensively, they don't have a weakness on that team. I think they're the best team. We're going to see this matchup again come playoff time. Hopefully, cross my fingers. And moving on to our final game, one that Gage actually went to go see in person. It was Cardinals and Titans. Gage, how was the game?
It was not what I was expecting. Obviously, it's the reason I'm very sunburned. I mentioned that earlier, but it was worth it. I had a good time. I was expecting it to be a lot closer. So I'm going to start off with the reason that it wasn't a lot closer first, and that is just the Cardinals defense is a whole other monster that we were not expecting, or at least I don't think a lot of people were expecting. I mean, we expected the pass rush to be good. Obviously, they add JJ Watt. They already had Chandler Jones, so he's coming back from injury, and you think that, they're going to get some sacks in. Chandler Jones is a behemoth, absolutely bullied Taylor Lewan all day. 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He went off. I mean, it was just lighting Ryan Tannehill up. I even got one of the fumbles on video. It was insane. But just beyond that, somebody that a lot of people haven't mentioned so far from this performance is Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons, I think, is going to take a big step up this season. Luke, you've been a proponent of that for a while now, I know. And he had Derrick Henry's number all game long. He was meeting him at the line of scrimmage, and he was getting those tackles on a guy that a lot of people deem untackleable. So for him to step up, he even had that interception, which was fantastic. For him to step up as well behind that D-line that is already so dominant was very good. The Titans O-line struggled a lot. I don't know if their O-line is going to continue to struggle that way against a lot of people, or if it was just because the Cardinals were so dominant in this one. We'll see what happens, but they definitely didn't look like one of, if not the best offense in the league, like everybody was expecting. But they're another team that I think will kind of get over this and we'll figure things out. I just think they weren't expecting the Cardinals to be this dominant. It was insane.
Yeah. It shocked me as much as anybody. DeAndre Hopkins looks as good as ever, as he always does. Kyler Murray looks amazing. Yeah, this team, do you see it on paper? You're like, shit. It's same thing as the Browns. You go through this roster and you're like, damn, like they got a good roster. And they were the better team on the field. They were. I was not expecting it. I thought the Cardinals, I still think they are the team that's going to end up finishing in the West, bottom of the division in the NFC West. I could be wrong, though. That's a 4-way race all the way to the end. It's going to be literally until week 18 that we know who wins this division, who's in last place. But enough about the Cardinals and Titans. Yeah, they just weren't ready. They weren't ready for how the Cardinals hit them. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, as they say in boxing. And the Titans got hit with a brick in the face. They were just not ready. Ryan Tannehill did not. He's usually one of the, he won't make a lot of mistakes, and he's a very clean quarterback that way. He's always going to make the right play and deliver the ball accurately. He's a very accurate passer. Just not his best game. Taylor Lewan came out after the game and just gave his credit to Chandler Jones for just absolutely dominating him. Did not expect Taylor Lewan to be that bad. As one of the best tackles in the league as we know him. The Cardinals were the better team. They dominated the Titans. Titans didn't look ready. I think they will recover from this, but Cardinals look good.
They looked more than good. They looked like one of the best teams in the NFC offensively and defensively. I actually think if it's going to come down to like last place in the NFC West, I'm leaning towards the 49ers right now. But they're all so good. It's really hard to predict. Yeah. Let's talk about the Titans. It's enough about the Titans because they fucking sucked. Ryan Tannehill, that was a rough first performance there for my MVP. Yeah. I still have hope though. No, it was the Kyler Murray show. 21 of 32, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has, I hate to say it right now, if we're going right now based off week 1, he has the best wide receiver on his team in DeAndre Hopkins. If we're just basing it off right now this season. DeAndre Hopkins was ridiculous. That toe drag swag of a touchdown where he just 1-2 right by the sideline. He's the only one that's doing that in the league. He's the only one. Kyler looked outstanding. I think he's the early MVP candidate. If we had to pick one just after 1 week of football, he looked ridiculous. But player of the game was Chandler Jones. He did it all. It's got to be. I don't think a lot of people were expecting him to come back off of his injury and just be that old Chandler Jones, that record-setting Chandler Jones. Not enough people talk about him, by the way, and just like not even today, but like all-time greats. Nobody's talking about Chandler Jones. The fact that he has J.J. Watt on the other side to take some of that pressure off of him, he's going to have a ridiculous season. I don't know why people weren't expecting this. I mean, I wasn't. It was kind of hard to predict, but man, this Cardinals team looks legit. The only thing that worries me about this Cardinals team right now is their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know if he's ready for that spotlight. I don't know if he's ready to bring this team to the next level. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that in college. We haven't seen it now. Hopefully he is. Maybe it'll be sort of a thing where like the team will carry him. But Cliff Kingsbury is the only down part about that team right now.
And I totally get what you're saying with that. And I'm not disagreeing because I think that they are in a position that they could carry him, because let me tell you, watching Kyler Murray in action in person, it's literally like watching a game of Madden. Like, I know that everybody says that, but it really is. He's so poised. He looks like he is just doing whatever he wants out there. It's insane. And they have the pieces around him to be able to do that week in and week out. And I think that, you know, having a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, even not as just like his go-to, but just as a guy that to bail him out whenever he's getting around those guys and dodging the pass rush and stuff like that, is just going to do him so much good. And I think that Cliff Kingsbury, whether he is drawing it up really well or whether it's just Kyler Murray performing, they're going to be a great team. This might be my second overreaction to a team. I think the Cardinals are going to be significantly scarier than people were expecting. And they didn't play a great defense. We haven't been high on that defense. I haven't been high on that defense. Janoris Jenkins got bullied by DeAndre Hopkins all game long. But just based on their defense, the Cardinals are going to be a very, very tough team to beat.
I don't even think that's an overreaction, because they are. They are a team that was a lot scarier than we thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And before we head out of this episode, we got to make our picks for this upcoming Thursday night game. I could not be more excited for this game. Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke, primetime football. What more could you ask for? Guys, give me your picks. Give me your predictions. Who's winning this football game?
I am going to take Daniel Jones and the Giants in this one. I think that they can pull it off. They had a rough game against the Broncos because Teddy Bridgewater came out and was slinging that thing. And their defense is obviously very good as well. Von Miller was having a game, but I think that they're going to pull it back this week. I think they're going up against another tough defense, of course, in the Washington football team. But I think with Taylor Heineke at the helm, they're going to do decent. They're going to do all right. It's going to be a tough game. They're going to duke it out to the very end. But I think that Daniel Jones and his receivers are going to get it together. Sterling Shepard looked very good, and I think he's going to continue to potentially be that number one receiver on that team. I like the Giants in this one.
Yeah, I think you're crazy to pick the Giants. No, Daniel Jones looked bad. He looked bad. I have been a proponent of Daniel Jones. I've seen the talent that he has. It's just, oh my gosh, can he make mistakes? He fumbled like a couple times in this game, I want to say. And he's not going up against an easier defense. The Washington defense might be scarier than the Broncos defense. And Taylor Heineke, dare I say, played better than Ryan Fitzpatrick when he came in the game against the Chargers team.
Yeah, I think he was 11 for 15, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And against a good Chargers team, a good Chargers defense. So I'm taking Washington this one all the way. I don't think, 3-day turnaround is enough to fix Daniel Jones and that team's mistakes. I think the Giants are going to be contending for one of the worst teams in the league also this year. But yeah, Washington all the way. I'm going to take Washington 20-13.
2013. You think Taylor Heineke's scoring that little points? Really? I
know. I had to hold myself back from thinking he was scoring 50 in this one. But
I'm thinking 60.
60. All right. Yeah. Wow.
No, I think
Thompson, no dribbles.
Right. Yeah. If there is a kryptonite to Daniel Jones, it might as well be the Washington football front seven, because oh my God, we need to like send some extra security just to like make sure Daniel Jones is okay after this game, because he's going to get ravaged the entire game. He's fumbling. Daniel Jones, he's probably going to have a couple more in this game. Taylor Heineke provides a spark for this team for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but he does. This team rallies behind him. They almost pulled it out against the Chargers with him at quarterback. I think he should have been the starter, week one over, old ass Ryan Fitzpatrick. By the way, hope you get well soon, Ryan Fitzmagic. You're always Always a fan favorite. I am going with the Washington football team to destroy the Giants. I love Taylor Heineke. He was my breakout player for the NFC East for a reason, because I thought something like this would happen where Ryan Fitzmagic would potentially, suffer an injury or just be outplayed. I'm going with the Washington football team. I'm taking them 28-17. Give me the WFT. I'm rolling with Washington.
Okay. I didn't make a score prediction, so I guess I'll go ahead and do that real quick. I took the Giants, obviously, so I'm going to take them 28-27. That's how close I think it'll be. I think it'll come down to the wire, but I think the Giants pull it out in the long run.
One more thing. If they have Saquon Barkley on a pitch count, on a snap count, and they're really just trying to ease him back into playing again, this is not the defense you want to go up against, especially not on the road in an early season game. It's rough. It's a rough one.
Yeah, I'll be the odd man out. You guys need the help anyway right now as far as picks go.
Oh, he starts winning picks and he gets all cocky. I see how it is.
I got to take what I can get. I suck at guess that player. I'll take my early lead.
Yeah. I was about to mention Saquon. I feel so bad for him, man. He's not going to have a single gap to run through all night long. This is going to be brutal. He's going to be getting tackled 2 yards in the backfield, not having an opportunity to do anything. This O-line,
Texas routes.
Yeah. This is going to be scary for him. If I honestly was the Giants, obviously I know he gives you the best chance to win, but I would just sit him out this game, be like, listen, I want you to heal up. This is not the game where you are going to be healing up. Just take this one off. Obviously, that might be looked at as, handing the game to the Washington football team, but, I digress. Got to be brutal.
It's a very Eagles and Nate Sudfeld move, right?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
I don't think he exists anymore. He's just
probably
not. Just fell off the face of the planet.
Yep.
And that is going to wrap it up for episode 17 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, we more than appreciate it. If you want to bet on player props this NFL season, make sure to do it with Thrive Fantasy. And by depositing any amount of money up to $100, they are going to double it. And if you deposit $10 using our code TOTALLY, that is TOTALLY, you're going to get one free Sunday ticket to their $100,000 contest. You don't deposit $20, you're going to get 2 free tickets to their NFL Sunday contest. $100,000 worth of prizes. It's a no-brainer. It's easy money. Make sure you go use code TOTALLY.
Yeah, guys, and make sure to download the Overtime app using the link in our bios. Okay, it's going to support the channel. Also, you're going to want to download it because we are going to be doing a monthly giveaway. We're going to be giving away Overtime merch every month. So we're going to be doing basically a tournament with the pools on Overtime. We're going to let you guys know, put out a video every single week. We'll total up how many points you've scored, and the winner of all of those contests who scored the most points through all of our pools for the month will win the Overtime merch. So make sure to go to the Overtime link in our bios to download it. You don't have to, but if you use the link, it does support the podcast. It does support us. So we greatly appreciate that, guys. And Overtime has some dope merch, so you're going to want to get in on this.
For sure.
Absolutely. And while Overtime merch sounds like the best award that you can win, the best thing that you can win, I've got something better for you. If you go to Apple and you rate and review us, and then go to YouTube and subscribe and like all of the episodes, I'll give you a big old smooch. Just
whoa,
right on the cheeks.
Oh, that's
crazy. The gift of love is better than anything.
Absolutely. So if you guys get on that for me, I'll have that smooch to you right away. It takes 5 to 7 business days, but it'll get there.
You got to pay
Tom Brady.
$.
Tom Brady would jump all over that right now. Tom Brady is like, take my money. Yes.
I'm too old for
that. Man. What an end. What an end to the episode.